Hello, it's Guy here, you're watching Midwinter Minis. This is going to be a slightly different video today. I've got loads and loads of things that I need to talk to you about, kind of like channel updates that don't really fit in with the next few videos I've got planned for the coming weeks or months. So I thought we could all just sit down and have a nice little relaxing chinwag about stuff. So all of the topics I'm going to be covering in this video will be time-stamped down below, so feel free just to jump to that one if a particular topic I'm covering doesn't really interest you. But if you're here for the long haul, let's just crack on, shall we? Let's kick off the video with a bit of good news and a really fun story. I recently put out a video where I repainted my Nurgle body horror Land Raider, now one of the most infamous Warhammer models out there, and I said that I was going to be raffling it off. The reasons being that the model was originally made at a really horrible time in my life, and it just wasn't something that I really wanted anymore. And just being honest, I needed the money. At that point, I had just been told that my landlords wanted to sell the property that I rent from them. That's the place where I live and work. And having moved twice in 2 years already, once when my partner and I separated, and then again after I'd been staying in my new place for 1 year, and surprise, surprise, the landlords wanted to sell up. Gotta love the UK rental market, huh? Anyway, the raffle ended, and we actually went to visit You Could Win, the company that hosted the raffle, to do the prize draw with them. It's in a town called Bishop Stortford, which is actually pretty near us in Colchester. We rocked up to the address, and not gonna lie, I had a sinking feeling that we might have actually been scammed. Home and Eat? What the heck is this place? They sell hot tubs, lighting, houseplants, carpets, fishing gear, airsoft, and Warhammer. There's also a gorgeous little cafe and a stage for events too. Utterly bizarre. Oh, and also obviously this is where they run You Could Win raffle draws, because why not? So obviously not a scam, despite some impotent rage from Reddit. I met Rob, the boss, and we kicked off the live stream where they were giving away that week's prizes. And I jumped in as his glamorous assistant and occasional random number generator pusher. After about a dozen awesome prizes were dished out to lucky winners, it was time for the main event, and to hit that button one last time.
Here we go. 3591. Let's see if that number exists. If it is there, straight away, congratulations to Gordon
Warhammer.
Gordon
Warhammer. We gave Gordon a quick call to break the good news.
You won the Nurgle Land Raider draw, my friend. You did it. And no, I'm not having a laugh. I am deadly serious. Deadly.
Are you deadly serious?
I'm deadly serious, my friend.
Your biggest fan?
No, you're not. No, my mum is my biggest fan, unfortunately. So you're gonna have to be my number 2 fan. We could come and give it to you now if you wanted.
Yeah, no, fantastic. Much appreciated.
Okay, we'll see you later.
See you later.
Exciting.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
And well, that was that evening's plan sorted then. Gordon was in Southampton, which was about 120 miles from where we were, so a reasonable driving distance. We had a few minutes to kill before we left, and honestly, I thought it would be rude to turn down the offer of a quick go on the airsoft range.
Oh, wow.
Yay!
Yay! So manly. All the Americans are going to be watching this going like, yeah, now he gets it.
And after a sandwich and some drinks, Rob and co sent us on our way. When we finally got there, to say we were warmly greeted would be a massive understatement. The funny thing was, although Gordon had won the draw, he'd actually bought more tickets on behalf of his wife, Donna. Turns out the butthole tank was going to a family of Midwinter Mini superfans.
Literally amazing.
I'll even let you keep the box.
Oh, well, you yes, I love the butthole.
I can just finger the butthole.
Yeah, you could.
Gordon, Donna and their daughter Georgie had all got into nerdy hobbying during the pandemic. And honestly, I'm not sure there's a single Midwinter Minis episode they hadn't seen. They were an absolute delight. They showed us their paint jobs, let us cuddle their dogs, share their pizza, and even challenged us to a game of Mario Kart. Big mistake though, because both Hatty and I are absolute fiends at Mario Kart and take no prisoners, even if we're trying to impress people. Honestly though, some of the nicest people you could have hoped to meet, and the butthole tank took pride of place in their display cabinet, overlooking the living room. I'm sure friends and family will love having this thing staring down at them when they're over. I really wish we could have stayed longer, but Colchester was 3 hours away, so we said fond farewells and we scooted. And after dropping Hatty back to hers and a 7.5 hour round trip, I just about made it back to mine on fumes, or I don't know, spare electrons or something. So an awesome and heartwarming end to a fun little chapter of the channel's history, I think you'll agree. Also, by the way, I don't know if you've noticed, but I'm not actually using a big broadcast mic for this video. I'm just using this tiny little magnetic clip-on microphone here. Did you even notice? It sounds pretty good, right? It's the Hollyland Lark Mark II, just in case you're interested. You get 2 little mics, a receiver box that also charges the mics, and adapters for whatever phone or camera you use, all for under 200 quid. I think that's pretty decent. This is obviously not sponsored. I just know a lot of content creators and hobby techie nerds watch this channel as well, so I just thought I'd let you know. Right then, next up on my notes, and very related to the last bit, having to find somewhere else to live and work. I'm very pleased to let you know I also have some great news. After a full month of having prospective buyers coming for regular viewings, which is pretty awkward to explain to 2-3-year-olds why people are coming in and out of our house looking to see if they want to live there, the landlords ultimately decided that given the financial uncertainty in the UK at the moment, the looming general election, and the fact they didn't have any offers at the price they wanted, they would offer me a 2-year fixed tenancy, which I obviously signed up for straight away. Yes, thank you very much. A massive, massive weight off my shoulders. Now, obviously that has not dampened my resolve, and I'm still very, very, very driven to generate enough of a deposit that I can escape the rental market and get a bit of stability in my life. But it has taken a bit of pressure off, which is very, very nice. In a weird way, I'm kind of grateful for the recent turn of events because it's really lit a fire under me and it's made me progress with loads and loads of fun hobby projects that I've been working on in the background, bubbling away for years. Sometimes almost as long as the channel has actually been going. So I'm really, really looking forward to when you can see those projects come to fruition. And some of them should be this year, which is incredibly exciting. Right then, next topic. What's all this stuff on the table, Guy? Very good question. You've been very patient. I can see you've been wondering. This little collection of goodies is the small haul that Hatty and I managed to get our hands on at the UK Games Expo. First up, at the Wayland Games booth, I was excited to see actual, real life, in the flesh stock of Ravaged Stargear, which is a new miniature line and game by my pals at Mini Wargaming. I've done a few sponsored videos on this stuff, but that was using pre-release models, so I'm excited to see what it actually looks like as a real, buyable product. And it's nice to support your friends' endeavors. Next up, from the Archon Studios booth, we picked up a couple of things. Keeping with the tank theme, I bought this Wolverine tank from their Rampart series. Also, at the Archon booth, I picked up this crazy Xeno Dragon model. Again, hard plastic and pretty huge. Let's take a look at the kit. Any guesses on prices? Well, both this kit and the tank were £20 each. I love the alien vibe, but if that isn't for you, there's also loads of other dragon varieties in the Dungeons and Lasers range. The cheapest big dragon I could find on the Games Workshop website is 45 quid, so these Dungeons and Lasers dragons are less than half the price, and being honest, very, very similar quality. Speaking of Games Workshop, I picked up a copy of Ian Livingston's new book, Dice Men, cataloguing the early days of Games Workshop. Ian is, if you aren't aware, an absolute legend. Co-founder of Games Workshop, co-founder of Eidos Interactive, author, and co-founder of those awesome Fantasy Flight Choose Your Own Adventure books. I had a really nice chat with Sir Ian, let's not forget his knighthood, and he kindly signed my copy of the book too. Keeping with books, I was given this copy of Bangarang by Bill, of Bill Making Stuff. It's a homebrew wargame dreamed up as a way of letting his custom-made bead bots and robot monsters duke it out in an actual game, rather than just mashing them together and going pew pew pew, I assume. And I look forward to trying this out at some point. In a convention tradition, I swung by the Pro Art paintbrush stand and grabbed some of their event deals, like this set of 6 sable brushes for a tenner, and these general purpose synthetic brushes were on sale for just 4 quid on that day. Hard to say no. I think I've probably used Pro Art brushes more than anything else in the last couple of years. I just think they're great. Our next goodies came from our pals at Modiphius. They've been making some awesome games recently, like this Fallout faction skirmish game, basically like Necromunda set in the Fallout universe, which I'm really excited to play because I love both of those franchises. They also threw in some of their preview models for their upcoming Roman Empire versus Cthulhu tabletop game called Cohors Cthulhu. It might seem like a pretty bizarre mix, but it lets you get crazy sculpts like this. Honestly, the detail on these models is bonkers. If the production models are this good, then that's seriously impressive. We also picked up some of the event-exclusive meeple dragons from my mini factory. Adorable. I've got 3, I think Hatty's definitely painting one of them, but what a fun first mini to let the twins paint, so I'll save 2 of those for later. The last thing I picked up was this, and there's a bit of a story involved. I'm a massive Battletech fan, but really only the video games. I've put countless hours into every Mech Commander and Mech Warrior game since I was about 10, but I'm especially fond of the HBS Battletech PC game. But I've never tried the tabletop game. I just don't think I've ever known anyone who plays it already, and the rules seem pretty dense to try and learn on your own. Anyway, I was hovering around the Catalyst Games booth waiting for Steve and Ant to find me when I struck up a conversation with one of the demonstrators. I basically told him exactly the same thing as I just told you now, and straight away he was like, "Oh man, I love the Atlas video you made, by the way," which was awesome. And he went over to grab his colleague, Randall, to chat with me. That would be Randall Bills, one of the main creative minds behind Battletech itself. And he was like, "Hey, nice to meet you. Have this starter set and an Innisphere lance on us, and let us know if you need any help for making future Battletech videos." Just gonna say, what a massive bloody difference compared to trying to do anything with Games Workshop. I've made over 200 videos on GW products over 6 years, and they don't even do me the courtesy of answering my emails. So the reason I'm excited about this one is because I feel like Battletech could really do with a Midwinter Mini style, easy to follow beginner's guide on how to play the tabletop game. And with the help from my new friends at Catalyst, I'm really looking forward to making that happen at some point soon. So that was my haul. Let's quickly hear from Hatty so she can tell you what she bought.
Ka-cha. Hello. My haul is a little bit smaller than Guy's because I was only there for 1 day. I started feeling a little bit ill on the end of the Saturday, so I decided to go home instead of spread con flu to everyone. But here's what I found that tickled my beans. First of all, I picked up this gorgeous little print by Angela Zhang because we all know I love a good haunty house with spooky little trees. Next, I saw this vibrant little card game called Banana from across the way, and it's got cats, it's got bananas, it's got cute. I couldn't resist. How does it play? Who knows? But I bought everything, including all the expansions, so I hope it's good. I'm looking forward to forcing the guys to play this at Games Night. The next thing I got, actually, I didn't even get. Guy got it for me on the Sunday. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll already know I'm a Disney girly, and I've been seeing people play Lorcana a lot, and I wanted to know what it's like. So Guy picked me up 2 starter decks so I can learn to play it. Thanks, Guy. And then the final thing I got accidentally fell into my basket. It was 2 new Disney Lounge fly bags, because I have a problem. In my defense, Wayland Games were doing them for half price, so what else was I supposed to do? If you saw Warhammer for half price, you'd probably get it too. And that's it. Okay, back to Guy.
Jesus. The last thing I picked up at Games Expo was not actually a product, it was from a fan of the channel called Ollie, and it was this totally awesome little sandstone Necrons pin that he'd made himself. How awesome is that? What a legend. Right, on to the next point, which is kind of neat because it's also about product. This time, Midwinter Ice, my new primer from Colourforge. First off, I just want to say a massive thank you to all of the people that supported the Kickstarter campaign. It's ended now, it was successful, and as I said in the announcement video, this is the first time in the 6-year channel history that I've ever put my name on a product, so it's kind of a big deal for me, and I'm just a human, I'm just a hobbyist, so it's quite validating that you rallied behind it and supported it. It means a lot to me. And it's also very humbling to be featured alongside so many other really, really amazing, talented content creators. I kind of feel a bit unworthy, but here we are. Now, while there were tons and tons and tons of really, really lovely comments, there were a few criticisms and some of them were quite valid, so I just want to address some of them now. To the people who were very annoyed because this was a UK-only Kickstarter, I apologise for that, but unfortunately that's just the way things happen sometimes. The Colourforge is a UK-based company, all the content creators in the series are UK-based, and while YouTube is a worldwide platform, there are serious hurdles companies have to jump through to ship pressurised containers of flammable chemicals. Now, keep in mind that the UK-only delivery was a stipulation for the Kickstarter campaign. And I've been assured several times by the Colourforge that they are working really, really hard to get international distributors for their products for Europe and the USA. So while the Kickstarter was really just a test to see if the product would actually be a success, which thankfully it has been, that means thanks to the support from all of the UK hobbyists, it makes it more and more likely that these products will be available worldwide, which is incredibly exciting. If I hear any update on this, I'll obviously be the first one to tell you. And again, I just want to reiterate, I totally understand, and I understand your frustration. It reminds me of when Hasbro or Pulse re-released Hero Quest. At the time of the Kickstarter, or their own crowdfunding thing, it was only available to the USA, and people in the UK just couldn't even access the website. It didn't even show the crowdfunder. And it was only after it was successful and completed that people in the UK could buy any version of Hero Quest and pre-order it. And that was through a third party, and the only option available was the most expensive option, which was obviously not ideal. But obviously now here we are, a few years later, it was successful, it was crowdfunded, and now you can buy it on Amazon for 25% off RRP. Now, to the people saying I've sold out because I've forsaken Halford's Primer, which has doubled in price in the last 6 years, and collaborated with a hobby brand who make a product that I've used for about a year and really love, maybe get a grip. Just a thought. I run a business. Unfortunately, I need to make money, and this is my job, so deal with it. Next up, let's totally change tune, and we're going to talk about the Start Collecting Deathmatch. I get comments about this all the time on every video we put out. When are you putting out the next Start Collecting Deathmatch game? Just being honest with you, I've kind of run into a bit of a production, or maybe a production and inspiration rut for the whole project. Let me give you some background information to let you know what I'm talking about. Way back when I first came up with the idea of the Start Collecting Deathmatch, those boxes were the only way of buying starter armies in one go. I thought it would be an awesome idea to paint up the sets and play the games, kind of get into a rhythm, but literally on the day after the first episode was released, Games Workshop announced that they were discontinuing the Start Collecting boxes and moving to the Combat Patrol format, featuring 20% more models for 200% of the price. Wait. That unfortunately instantly kind of scuppered the series. Interest started moving towards Combat Patrol boxes and away from the Start Collecting boxes, and viewership waned with each successive episode. I mean, I don't blame anyone, the release schedule was all over the place, but my battle reports take ages to make. They're so tightly edited and presented, it basically takes the lion's share of a working week to film and edit one. And to give you a bit of insight into how YouTube works for a second, if we take the third episode, for example, Tyranids versus Nurgle Demons, the video did pretty well, sitting at about 250,000 views so far. That video has made £1,200. Now, bearing in mind I pay each player for their time, that leaves about £1,000 after deductions, which is a pretty good return for a week of work. Fast forward to Game 8, Tau versus Admech, and that video only got 75,000 views, which, don't get me wrong, is still amazing for a battle report on YouTube, but it's made less than £400. So after deducting the fees for the players to pay them for their time, that video made about 200, which is simply not a sustainable amount of money for people who are doing this full time. Just as I said in the previous section, we are people who depend on the success of our videos we make for our livelihoods. Also, when the tournament was mid-flow, Games Workshop updated the rules to Warhammer 40k to a new edition. Not a problem, you might assume, being one of the most prolific, long-running Warhammer content creators on the platform with Learn to Play 40k videos exceeding 3 million views, we'd surely get advanced copies of the rules so we can keep things running smoothly. Not a chance. So, in the direction the series was going, it basically became untenable. However, that isn't where the story ends. I don't want you to feel like I've given up on it. I'm not quitting on that series. I want to carry on with it. I want it to go out with a bang. I want it to do really well. I toyed with the idea of making it a Combat Patrol deathmatch, but honestly, the amount of work involved painting full Combat Patrols is not light work. And doing that for all 8 teams before the games even get underway again, it would just delay the series even further. Honestly, it would just disappear into the ether. Also, some of the teams still in the tournament don't even have representation in the Combat Patrol boxes. The different Chaos Demon factions specifically, who by and large have done really well in the tournament so far. So all that being said, here's my idea of what to do with the tournament next. Basically, drop the Start Collecting. Just make it the Warhammer 40,000 deathmatch, and have each team choose a 500-point army to use for the rest of the tournament. This should hopefully keep things vaguely balanced while still being faithful to the vibe of the tournament so far. Also, our 500-point battle reports are some of the most viewed Warhammer 40k tabletop content on the platform, so they should bode well for views. Please let me know if you think that sounds like a good way to move forward with it, or if you've got any other cool ideas, let me know in the comments, please. Next up, streaming. Last year, Hatty and I started streaming over on Twitch. Being honest here, we gave it a good go as part of a promotion Twitch were doing to tempt miniature painter and tabletop hobbyists away from YouTube and over to their platform. And while we had great fun with the awesome audience we had there, and we painted up loads of weird and wonderful things that wouldn't have really made good dedicated videos on YouTube, I think I can speak for both of us when I say that neither of us were really taken by the platform itself. And the way it's monetized, unfortunately, doesn't really make it a cost-effective thing for us to do without putting a big effort into maintaining the community there. And to be honest, it's more than a full-time job to maintain an audience just on YouTube, never mind on YouTube and on Twitch at the same time. So, with that being said, what we're going to do is we're going to start winding back our streaming on Twitch, at least for the time being, and we're going to move to streaming on YouTube instead, starting in July. We're basically going to be doing the same stuff we were doing over on Twitch, but on YouTube instead. So if you're a fan of very laid-back, casual hobby hangouts where we just chill and have fun and share good vibes, I'm sure you'll love them, so please tune in for them. We'll try and find a regular day of the week and time that we regularly stream on, so you can kind of set a little schedule, but we'll mix it up occasionally as well. You can't leave the Australians out. Okay, had a little break, went and got a coffee, because we've got quite a big topic next, because it's the end of the video and we're going to talk about that video, the big problem with historical wargaming. Now, I realise that video came out a year ago, so you might feel like this is too little too late, but we still get comments about this on the daily on multiple platforms, so it's obviously still fresh in a lot of people's minds, so let's just address it. But first and foremost, I just want to reiterate and emphasise that it was never my intention with that video to insult or antagonize anyone. The aim of the video was to engage in an open discussion about the complexities and ethical considerations inherent in historical wargaming, particularly given the sensitive nature of representing factions from real-world conflicts. In that video, we spoke about some of the different perspectives on why some players might feel uncomfortable playing as certain factions, and we obviously know that there are diverse opinions within the community. My goal for that video was to encourage some thoughtful discussion in the comments and better understand how our audience felt about bolt action and historical wargames in general, so that we could tailor our videos to better suit our audience. Certainly not to pass judgment on the people who enjoy it or to gatekeep the hobby. In fact, I don't think I even put any of my personal opinions in that video. Everything was framed in that video as some people might have a problem with this aspect, or some people might have a problem with this issue. Not that I felt any particular way. Now, obviously, whatever my intentions were, it doesn't really matter, because clearly that video was not received well by a large portion of our audience, or within the wider community. Our videos tend to get 99, 98% thumbs up, and that video was about half and half thumbs up, thumbs down, which is a record low for us. And that's on me. I messed up, and whatever my excuses, whatever I tried to do, I obviously failed, and that's my responsibility. I'm going to take that on the chin, and I'm sorry. It honestly really bothers me that some viewers interpreted it as an attack on a hobby that they love, or on their personal choices, or on bolt action as a game. Again, that was never my intention, and I apologise if I caused you any offence or distress. Unfortunately, the reaction to that video not only included criticisms of the video itself and the topics within it, which, as I've just said, I think is fair, but also personal attacks and physical threats to me, which, I'm going to be honest here, for a while was incredibly distressing to me, and at one point I honestly feared for the safety of myself and my team and my family. I mean, that's one of the reasons why I'm talking about it now, a year on, because closer to the time, it felt really raw and it felt quite dangerous. Among the more unhinged responses to that video were death threats to me, attempts to dox me, the stupid rumours and spreading of harmful misinformation about me, my personal life, my then recent separation from my ex, my current relationship status, and most disgusting of all to me, the accusation that I've abandoned my children, which is categorically false. This kind of behaviour is disgusting, morally abhorrent, and has no place in any community. Now, regarding the World of Warship sponsorship for that video, I understand that some viewers might have found it distasteful given the subject matter of the video, but honestly, I kind of thought it was the perfect fit for the video. And I thought by showing myself using one of the German battleships in the demo game I was playing would kind of show that I didn't really have any horse in the race. But obviously that was another misjudgment on my part, and I'm sorry about that. Ending this on a positive light, moving forward, I'm going to try and be a bit more mindful of sensitive topics like this in future videos, and do my best to keep this channel overwhelmingly hobby positive. Hopefully, as you'll have seen from my 260 odd videos, I'm a huge advocate of tabletop hobbying, miniature painting, and wargaming. I would never ever want to discourage anyone from enjoying this hobby that I love so much, or to insult anyone for enjoying it. So, that about wraps it up for this video. Thank you so much for watching and joining me and sitting down and sharing your time with me. I really do appreciate it. Massive thanks to all of our Patreon supporters who, honestly, we couldn't do this without you. I know I say it every video, but it is legitimately true. You keep the lights on, you keep our bellies full, you keep Hatty employed. It's stupid stuff as well. It's like Ness's vet bills. You're essentially covering that, so I am absolutely indebted to you, and I'm going to do my best to make awesome videos that entertain and excite you as well. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Bye for now.